video on how to assemble your bed. The first thing you're going to want to do is uncrate everything and take note of all the pieces. The headboard can be put aside for now, somewhere close to where you're going to be doing the assembly, but the first things you're going to need are the two side rails and the footboard. You can tell which the side rails are because they have an additional piece here, a 2x2 rail with lines on it. That is the part that goes up. So the lines in the holes will be facing the ceiling. They're also marked left and right. The left side is on the left if you're facing the headboard, right is on the right. The 4 pins on the ends are going to be facing the footboard. Your footboard here is also marked with a left and a right, and just match those up with the sides that are marked L and R on the side rails. There's also an arrow here indicating which side goes up. Once you have your side rails and your footboard, you're going to want to put them close to where your bed is going to end up after assembly, because this is going to be really heavy once it's fully assembled. The next thing to do is find your bag of hardware. There is 4 L brackets in there, as well as 3 different kinds of fasteners. You have a long threaded bolt, a small threaded bolt, and regular Robertson wood screws. On top of that, there are 2 different sizes of Allen keys. The small one, the silver one, is for the small bolt, and the black one is for your long threaded bolt. You'll also need a drill with at least a 4-inch Robertson bit. That's a square drive bit. 4-inch or 6-inch will work just fine. And you're going to need a rubber mallet with a soft head. Those are the only 2 tools you'll need other than what I'm giving you in the bag here. So the first thing you need out of the hardware bag are the small threaded bolts. There's 20 in the bag. Right now you only need 16. Put the other 4 aside. You're going to take one of your L brackets. The long end goes on the side rail. So you line them up. The short end is going to be close to flush, but a little bit recessed. And right now you're just going hand tight. So I can fit these small threaded bolts pretty much all the way down just by hand. If it's not going in easy, you need to kind of play with the position of your L bracket so that they can just screw in very easily. You see, just like that, the heads of the bolt are almost all the way through. So you're going to do that on both sides, all 4 L brackets. Again, for now, just hand tight. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, if you want to come around here and just do a quick zoom in, you'll see the way I'm setting these up. The long side against your side rail, short side against the end. It's close to flush with the very end, but you'll see it's going to be a little bit on the inside for these to meet up. Okay, so making sure that your arrows are facing the ceiling on both pieces, and your L is matching with the L, and over there your R matches the R. You're ready to attach the footboard to the side rails. To do that, you're just going to meet up these 4 pins with the 4 mortises. Now these are a very snug fit, so you may have to give it a little bit of elbow grease. Your rubber mallet will help you out here. Just tapping. So once it's nice and tight, you take a few more of the short threaded inserts and you're going to thread these into the other 4 holes on the ends here. Again, they should just be able to go in by hand. Nice and easy fitting. If it's a little bit snug, again, you're going to move around this plate a little bit. So that is snug. Make it go a little bit higher. There it goes. If you have a hard time getting in there, you can use your Allen key at this point, but it should not be hard to turn. So before you tighten any of those down, you're going to want to put the other 2 in. Okay, so once you repeat that on the other side, you're going to have the 2 side rails attached to the footboard pretty firmly. But you want to be able to lock them down really nice and tight. So the first ones you're going to tighten up are the 2 on the side rail. With this still loose, you're going to pull this over as far to the headboard as it'll go, and then start tightening those down. You should see a gap at the end, in between the end of the L bracket and your footboard. So you're going to snug up all 8 bolts on the side rails. So once your bolts are tight on the side rails, your L brackets shouldn't be moving at all, and that's how you're going to get the foot rail to come really nice and tight into the side rails, by tightening the other 4 bolts on each side. If you find there's still a little bit of a gap between the foot rail and the side rail, you can give it another tap with your rubber mallet and make sure it's nice and snug. You'll notice there is a small gap on the support portion of the side rails. That should be there, that's fine. That's going to allow for expansion and contraction of this foot rail as it needs to without pushing on the footboard. So we don't want any gap on the outside of the footboard. Okay, so after you tighten up all those 16 bolts at the foot of the bed, you're ready to attach the frame to the headboard. You want to bring the frame to the headboard in the position where your bed's going to be, except you want it about 2 feet away from the wall so that you can get in behind the headboard to be able to fasten it. Okay, so once your bed is close to where it's going to stay, you want to line your headboard up with the side rails starting on the left side. Your side rail should just slide right into this mortise slot on the headboard. So I need to lift it ever so slightly, and there it goes. It sets right in there. Then you're going to take your long threaded bolts and put 3 of them in the back of this, just loosely for now. So you'll find these 3 holes in the back. First I'm going to push it through the headboard in the wood. It's going to be about that deep, all 3 of them. And then with the black Allen key, you want to turn them enough so that they start going into the threaded inserts on the side rail, but you don't want to tighten them down all the way just yet. They should spin easily. You shouldn't have to force this. If you're forcing it, you may want to change the alignment a little bit, pushing the headboard one way or the other to get these to go in nice and smoothly. All right. Okay, so now we repeat the same thing on the right side. This side is a little bit tougher because that side's already tightened, so I had to wrestle it into place a little bit more. But once you have the top of the mortise sitting in there, you may notice that there's a small gap at the bottom. All I did was start tightening the bolt at the top, at the back first, tightening that a little bit, and then the middle one a little bit, and then the bottom a little bit, until it brought all this nice and tight. So you can see there, there's no gap in the joint, and that's what you're looking for all the way. At that point, the main part of the frame is all finished. Next, we're going to work on the bed support down the center and then put in the slats, and we're done. Okay, so just a quick tip before you start putting all the slats in. You want to make sure that the frame is square at this point. So in order to do that, all you'll be doing is taking a measuring tape and putting it right from corner to corner on both sides. So here I have 104 inches and a quarter. So 104 and a quarter. I check the exact same thing on this side, and I want the same measurement. So again, 104 and a quarter, so I know we're square. Then I can start putting the center support and the slats in. If it's not perfectly square, then your mattress won't go in it perfectly square either. If it's out just a little bit, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so for this part, we're going to need the other 4 threaded inserts, the small ones, and you need our center support bar. You'll notice that the ends are marked B and A. A is at the headboard, B is at the footboard. So to install this, first you're just going to take one of your threaded inserts and go loosely onto one side, and then loosely over here onto one side. Use the same side. And then this should just hook on the side right into them like that. And then you put your other bolt in both ends. Now there's a mark on each side to line these up to center it, as well as for the height. You don't want to pay attention to that, and tighten it right down at that point. So you'll notice once you have this installed in line with the marks on the headboard and the footboard, that it's a little bit higher than your floor. That's because this has a counter spring to it, so then once you put your slats on it, it'll come down and keep it from sagging over time. Over here, we're ready to put our slats on. They start with number 1. You'll notice they're marked only on the right side, 1, 2, 3, and so forth, all the way up until 12. So to install your slats, all you're going to do is place them in between the lines that are marked on here. Take your drill and the wood screws that I've given you, and just screw them in each side. There's 2 screws per side. They should go in really easy because they've already been countersunk and pre-drilled. So again, just move this to wherever the line is and drill. So then you line up the next one, number 2, put it in place on your lines, and again, just screw it in. You should screw in really easy. If it's not screwing in easy, you might have to move it a little bit to find the right hole. But you're just going to repeat this step over and over until you have all 12 done, and that's it. Your bed's assembled. You're going to want to push it up against the wall, put your mattress in there, and be sure to send us a pic when it's all done.